Hello, this is Magbo Gaming speaking once again, and I learned a new skill when it comes to dealing with the insides of a video game or console. So today I want to show you how I changed the battery of this game. I just got this in the mail for about $55. Yes, a little bit of a decent deal compared to how much they're usually worth, like over $70 to $80. So this is what I got. It's in pretty good shape, as you can see here. And I'm gonna teach you guys how to open it. More or less what I have learned about soldering so far, because I already fixed up a red version recently. I replaced the battery of that. I tested it out and it was working great. So let's see if I'm able to pull this off. The battery is dead here. It's set in the eBay listing. So I bought this so I could be able to practice more on the soldering thing. So let's see what we're up against and we'll have a closer look. As you probably should know, Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal all has a built-in time system, which is always running within the battery of the game at all times, even when the game is turned off and not being used. Usually these batteries will have a lifespan of about 5 to 10 years if not in heavy use. So I would suggest you get something to back up your save file before the save battery dies off, or else you will lose all your progress and Pokemon you ever caught in this game. So here is the tools, everything that you need in order to do this fix, to perform this battery replacement. Of course, you're gonna need a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance in order to test the games. You need a copy of a Pokemon game or any Game Boy games in general, but Pokemon's the best example I could give you guys. A new replacement battery right here, which mostly are good for Pokemon games. These are the soldering type of wires we have here, where we're gonna need to melt it on the battery. I'll show that in a minute. The multimeter right here to test to see if there's any voltage on the other batteries. The soldering iron, definitely you're gonna need that so you can solder this thing together. Of course, this iFixit tool, because we're gonna need this tool in order to open the back of this right here. And if you want to put the solder iron while this thing is still hot, you could just put it in here. That's what I just found out recently. And yep, I have plenty of more to fix in the future, plenty of more batteries that I could replace. They're all brand new. You could buy a pack of these on eBay pretty much. So yeah, let's see what we can deal with here. Before I open the cartridge, I test the game on my own Game Boy Advance handheld system to see if it's true that it's not able to maintain the save. As you can then see, it says new game and option. But let's start the game to see if it fully has the save issue. I will name myself Magbo, of course, to start off Pokemon Silver, and once I make it to the beginning of the gameplay, I perform a save on the game. Then I turn it off, remove the cartridge for a moment, and then insert it back to the GBA. Now let's see if the game I just saved is there or not. Nope, guess not. So that means the save battery is dead. So let's go on to repair this thing to replace it with a new save battery. So to start off this repair process, you will need a 3.8mm screwdriver in order to open up the back of the Game Boy cartridge. Luckily, every single iFixit toolkit will come with this piece and many more to open all sorts of electronics from video games. Once I unscrewed the back of the Game Boy cartridge, I turn it over and slide it down the front of it and review the PCB board of this game. Here is where the save battery is located, on the top right section of the board. Then I take the PCB board off the backside of the Game Boy cartridge and place it on my desk so that we can start working on this. As you can see, this is what the plastic of the cartridge looks like once the board is removed. Now you're going to want to use the multimeter in order to test the voltage of the battery. If it gives a result of 3.0 or more, then it should be working. If not, then we can confirm that the battery has no power to function and it needs to be replaced. So I then test it on a new battery. Just to let you know, I am still new at using the multimeter, so if you have tips on how I can improve this on future repairs, any construction criticism will be welcome. And now we will start the process of removing the battery. Highly recommended to use the Q-tips in order to spread some of this flux on the solder contacts of the battery. This will make it more effective in removing the old solder from the old safe battery. It took me some tries to finally get it off, so if you're new to this, expect some trial and error to occur. Now we're gonna start using the solder iron. You will need to turn up the heat here to at least 400 to 450 Celsius in order for it to melt the metal from the old solder. Here is how I do it. Just be careful not to bump into any of the other components besides the metal holding the batteries on both sides. And to be careful how you melt it, do not press it too hard. Just gently press it down so it can slowly melt the whole bottom. Eventually both sides will be melted, so you will be able to remove the old safe battery from the PCB board. As you can see, it took me quite a while to pull it off since I'm a newbie myself, so with experience, I believe I can work a bit more faster on this in the near future. Once you melt it enough, use your tweezers to gently remove the battery from the board. The reason you use the tweezer obviously cause the ends might be very hot after melting, and you do not want to burn your fingers in the process. Trust me. After it dries up, start preparing the metal stick that should come with the soldering kit, because this is what you will be using with the soldering iron to melt pieces of it to apply to solder the new metal on the new battery. Also make sure the battery's positive and negative position is actually in the correct matching position, that both the metal feet on both ends are aligned with where you need to apply the solder metal on. Then apply some flux once again on the ends where you will melt the solder on to make the process more effective. Once that's done, carefully aim the metal stick to the first end of the safe battery with the soldering iron. Melt the metal piece to apply it on the positive and negative ends so they stick in place once it becomes solid. Have a lot of patience in applying the iron and spread it around in order to make the proper connection. Then once you finish sticking the battery in its place, I usually wiggle the PCB board around to ensure that the battery cannot easily come off. You can tell afterwards that it's where it's supposed to be. Of course, I will have to own up to a mistake I did the first time that I did it, where I made the wrong reverse connection, which was supposed to be this side as matched with my see-through Pokemon Crystal cartridge, where you can see how the battery was soldered back by Game of Magbo in 2020 before the pandemic. After you have ensured that the battery sticks in its place properly, does not have to be 100% perfect, but as long as it's well connected, then place the PCB board back on the back of the plastic Game Boy cartridge, and then place the front of the Pokemon Silver plastic back to its place by sliding it up gently. Then aim the screw on the back of the Game Boy cartridge with the screwdriver equipped with the 3.8mm screw end to close it back in its place. Now we will be testing the Pokemon Silver game once again to start a new game. Once you give yourself a name and end up in your room at the start of the game, save it again. Then turn off the Game Boy, remove the cartridge for a few seconds, and then insert the cartridge once again to start the game. If the save file has been maintained and you have the continue option, then it looks like you have successfully replaced the Game Boy save battery for Pokemon Silver. Yes, it works. It saves. Yes, I did it. Sweet. Okay then, let's conclude this. Let's get a little summary. So yeah guys, I did a few tests on the save battery and now it's working great. I had a couple of hiccups. There was even a time when this thing was just flashing white and I don't know what's going on, and I had to open this game back in to see what was going on. Maybe I placed too much alcohol, or maybe I didn't clean it completely or something. And I cleaned it as much as I could and I fixed it. So here it is. This is my Pokemon. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. Want to show you guys that it maintains its save. And there it is, continue. And this is the name, Trainer Magbo. Can you guys see it well? Yeah, Trainer Magbo right here. And there you go. And that's where I saved it last. So yeah. It was a learning experience, I'll say. I hope that you learned something from this as well. I did my best to narrate what was going on the screen, on the video screen, because I think that was the best way for me to actually explain it with video footage on me working on this thing. So yeah, I was really afraid to learn to solder at first, but then after I had my hands-on experience, it's not as bad as I thought. It's just some trial and error, trying to make sure you're doing it right. Make sure that the battery's placed in the other way, because I made that mistake once in this tutorial. You probably didn't see it because I skipped it out, but I gotta own up saying that I did mess up one time with the placement of the battery, and as you can see, I destroyed one of the batteries. Or maybe it's just the yellow part right here. Maybe I could still use it for something else, but I'm still learning. If there's something I did wrong in the video, please let me know in the comment section below. Give me some tips so I could improve myself for the next time I solder a safe battery for Game Boy. The next thing I'm eventually gonna do is move on to soldering a ISP screen, like a backlit ISP screen for the Game Boy Pocket, because as you can see here, the Game Boy Pocket screen seen better days, right? Yeah, so let me know what you think about this tutorial. I did my best. I hope you learned with me. And if you enjoy, give it a like, share this video with other people you know that may need help on learning how to solder as well, learning how to change the save battery on a Game Boy cartridge, especially the Pokemon games. And comment below your thoughts on this whole thing. Give me tips if you think I should improve on something. I could definitely redo the video in the near future when I get more experience, who knows, but this is what I got so far. And Magbo says, I hope you enjoyed the hunt. Hope you're able to fix the video games that you want to be able to play that are broken, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until next time or next tutorial, Magbo says, take care. Bye bye. Game on. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other related videos here as well. I also have a Discord server you can join for the video game collecting community, and an Instagram you can follow as well. I even got some merch you may want to check out, my TeePublic link below. Hope to see you again soon.